I got to get this off my chest. Zach Taylor and Kevin Stefanski are two overly conservative coaches, and I feel like they're holding their teams back from being where they're supposed to be at. I think the Bengals should be better than what the record says. Ditto for the Browns as well. But I want to specifically point out to one game for both of these coaches where they had a similar situation and they dropped the balls, compared to another coach in the same division who had the same situation but came through. All right? And guess what? This all has to deal with 4th and 1. All right? Week 2 against the Chiefs, 4th and 1, maybe about a minute left in the game. You punt the ball, you give the Chiefs a chance to win the game. Or you get the first down with no timeouts on the Chiefs' hands. You basically win the game because you just run out the clock. John Harbaugh looks at his quarterback and says, "Do you want to go for it?" Lamar's like, "Hell yeah, let's get it." What do? They convert the 4th down, 2 yards. That's all they need to get. First down, boom, win the game. John Harbaugh has faith and trust in his players. All right, he has faith in his team, and because of that, that's why they're in first place, in spite of getting trashed by the same very Bengals I'm about to talk about at home. They're still in first place, and it shows why, coaches like John Harbaugh stand among good coaches, because he can make the decisions that make him look like a legend, that makes him great. This is why he's a great coach compared to Stefanski and Zach Taylor, who are good coaches but are not great coaches. It's because in critical moments of game that will decide whether you win or lose a game, they crumbled under the pressure. They got too conservative. They did not become aggressive when they needed to be aggressive. And if anything, they became aggressive when it was too little, too late. To the Bengals, because the Browns are more recent. The Bengals had a game against the Packers. All right. To break down the situation, it was super windy. The weather was just like bad for any long field goal attempts. I mean, Mason Crosby had like 3 missed field goals. Maybe some people might say, oh, he's having a PTSD moment from the Detroit game that he had a few years back. Could be. But I also think that the wind was playing a huge factor in why kicks weren't going in. What's his name? McPherson had a kick where it was swinging and it hit the right, I don't know what they call it, the right crossbar of the field goal. All right, so the situation I want to get into is that it's a 4th and 1. You're coming off a couple plays after Jamar Chase made a clutch catch on 3rd down and had a tiptoe right there on the right sideline. It's 4th and 1. You're in Packers territory. I want to say somewhere around the 40-yard line. I want to say plus or minus 5 given. It's a 4th and 1 situation. You're in overtime, and you got Joe Mixon as your tailback. All right, you got Jamar Chase balling out. You got T. Higgins. All you need to do is get 1 yard. And in the most sensible action, with the wind just being crazy and radical, why would you let your rookie kicker, who has been phenomenal for a rookie, go out there and kick a 50-something yard kick, knowing that it's going to be a low percentage make, when you have a higher percentage chance of going for it on 4th and 1 and converting it? It doesn't make sense to me. And I think Zach Taylor got too conservative and he dropped the ball on that one. You cannot tell me that you're going to be afraid of the Packers getting the ball, because if McPherson misses a low percentage field goal from 50-something yards out during a windy day, I don't know what's going through your mind. I mean, if you think he's going to make that, if he misses that, he's going to give the ball back to the Packers first and foremost. So it's like you got nothing to lose either way. You got to go for it. It just makes sense. I don't know why he didn't go for it. And if it never crossed his mind, then that tells me that he doesn't have what it takes to be an aggressive, great head coach. When he needs to be aggressive, he's not capable of being a great head coach. Same thing I could say about Stefanski, because you got a 4th and 1 situation. You're at the 50-yard line. You got 50 seconds left. You know the Steelers just shot themselves in the foot when they got their kicker knocked out of the game with an injury. There is no way in hell the Steelers are going to attempt a field goal if they get the ball back. And at worst, what are they going to do? Chuck a few Hail Marys? You're going to tell me your defense is not capable of keeping an old age quarterback, from being able to make deep connections? You're going to tell me that your pass rushers can't get to him like they've been doing the whole first half? And yeah, their best offensive weapon, Najee Harris, is actually a negative because you're not going to run the ball with 50 seconds left. I mean, he may come out as a pass-catching back, but you're going to tell me that your defense is incapable of preventing the Steelers from getting into a touchdown scoring position with 50 seconds left? And I don't think they even had that much timeouts, maybe 2 or 1, who knows? But either way, it's like you got to go for it. You're down. I don't know what the score was, but when you look at the final score, how they were down by 5, that possession was critical because if you actually did go for it first down and convert it, which you're telling me you can't do it with Nick Chubb, that tells me you don't have faith in your players to do it, just like Zach Taylor didn't have faith in his guys to be able to get that 1 yard. That is going to cost you the game because you could have converted that. High percentage chance, all right? And then guess what happens? 50 seconds left. You got a couple timeouts. You could work yourself into field goal range, have McLaughlin come out, kick a field goal. And then the next thing you know, instead of having Baker really get desperate and, chuck the ball up, on a 4th and 12, you're actually getting your kicker to go out there and win the game for you with another field goal. Because there we go. It's like a 3-point difference if you look at it. And to me, it's like game time situations where you got to be on point and handle this. You chose to drop the ball. You chose to be conservative and back out. A time when you need to be aggressive, because if you don't, you're just allowing the Steelers to hang around in a game they have no business of winning, being the inferior team, and you allow them to pull the upset. So that's really my issue I got to speak on, is that I feel like the state of Ohio is going to have another depressing year when it comes to NFL football, because they have 2 head coaches that are good but are not great head coaches because they're incapable of making the big boy moves that they need to make. I mean, I could tell you that the Browns, they had winnable games against the Chargers and the Chiefs. I mean, like what they were doing on the final drive against the Chargers, I don't know what the hell they was doing. It just looked to me like as if they had scrambled eggs for brains. And in the Chiefs game, it's just like they just choked. They pulled a Falcons against the Chiefs, and the Chiefs were really a struggling team now this season. Excuse me. So I don't get that. But all points across is that I think Kevin Stefanski and Zach Taylor, they need to look at themselves in the mirror, and going forward, I'm not here to really criticize them in their past, but rather they need to know that going forward, they can't afford to allow this to happen again. They need to be aggressive. When they're in a position to win the game, they cannot be scared and play conservative. They have to be aggressive when the time comes for them to be aggressive. The fact that you back out from a 4th and 1 situation, knowing that you have the talent capable of doing it, it's not like you're the fucking Buffalo Bills and you don't have a good running back that could punch it in there. I mean, I'm not going to touch them right now because they did have their 4th and 1 situation that honestly, like, if Josh Allen would take a notice and notice how the Titans D-line shifted all in the middle, could have easily audibled out of that quarterback sneak and just been able to flip it to a tight end or something and get that touchdown. But yeah, that's just something I just have to bring up. It's like these 2 head coaches, they got to step up. They need to make the big boy moves when the time comes, and they cannot afford to be conservative when they need to be aggressive. And they got to really play the game situation and look at all aspects of the game. Like I said, with Zach Taylor, there was no excuses. He lost the game with the Packers because he put his rookie kicker to go out there to make a low percentage field goal, way far out, 50-plus yards out, during a super windy day. That's inexcusable. That's on him. And with the Browns, Stefanski, you're at the 50-yard line. You got Nick Chubb. He can get that 1 yard. I don't care how good the Steelers front is. You got a better offense. And you got to believe in that, and you got to allow them to do their thing for 1 yard. And you got to also play the game situation how it is. The Steelers don't got a kicker, so they're not going to kick a field goal. At worst, they're going to try to drive down and try to get a touchdown, which your defense is pretty much competent and capable of preventing them from doing so, since they only had 1 touchdown the entire game. So when you look at things from that perspective, you got to understand that going forward, that when you're playing against certain teams and opponents, based on their weakness, you got to look at their weakness, their strengths. You got to also look at what you're playing against, the elements, all that. The fact that they're not calculating this tells me that their mind is busy, distracted somewhere else. And obviously they both got, I can't even say Baker's that young anymore, because what, 2018, that was 4 years ago. At this point, Baker Mayfield needs to get the training wheels off of him, and you got to allow him to play his game and not allow him to be boxed into your offensive schemes, because I think that's probably what hurt him and Odell's connection in the first place. But yeah, that's my thing. It's like you got to step back, all right, and just look at yourself and look at the whole situation and know what you have to do. When it's time to get your gears on and be aggressive, do it. That's it. That's all I got to say. Browns and Bengals fans deserve better. They've gone through this bullshit far too long. And I'm going to be interested to see how these two teams fare against each other, because, like I said, these two teams should have a better record than where they're at right now. And the fact that they're playing each other this Sunday, I think it makes it much more important for me to bring this up, since they're playing, you know, I got to see what they're going to do. You know, I don't know how they're going to do going forward. But, yeah, it's like, come on. The two guys that need to step up the most for both teams are their head coaches, and that's about it. Everybody else, they're doing their thing, and you just got to allow your players to do their thing. Come on. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not rocket science, you know, it's football. John Harbaugh wasn't afraid to go for it on 4th and 1. Tell me, why were you? Deuces.